So today we're reading the 8th slok of Sikshastakam, and I think we will complete it, and then in the next classes we will continue with the conclusion. That's the part 3 of the book.
You have online Maharaj, this one?
Yeah?
This Harikatha? I have the link, Maharaj.
Yeah, she's the one that has all the links. You can connect with, she can give you all the links. I do, like we do this Facebook Live, and Facebook Live is also connecting with the YouTube channel. So all the videos are there, even since 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, more than 3 years, because when I was in America, every single evening, every night, I recorded live, and so that's up on my Facebook channel. And then she also has, like, there's a couple of other
particular topics, Maharaj, you have spoken about the topics.
many topics. In a 3-year period, there were many different books, many different topics.
We can find that all the links there, recordings.
Yeah, all the recordings are available. She's also, as you can see, she has a couple of other cameras, but also we're recording for Russian-speaking devotees. It's been a little bit scarce because this time of the year somehow everyone has gone here, there. So, but we're doing the best that we can with the Russian translation, and that's posted also. She does that. But for the English translation, we have this. So she can give you all the information, and you can give her yours, and then like that. Yeah.
So every day you speak on, you have very Harikatha.
Not every day. Not while I've been here. While I've been here, I've been only doing Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. But when I've been in America, I was there, like I told you, for about 2 years. And every night I did. And so many different topics. So I'm just doing what is interesting for me, you know, what enlivens me. And recently I had a visit from a couple of my godbrothers here. They were here for a couple of months in Mayapur, and they would come for my classes. And they're also very old Prabhupada disciples like me. And so that inspired me to go in a certain direction with reading both Srila Prabhupada's books on the subject matter, and also Srila Narayan Maharaj's books. And we were covering, like, for example, Chaitanya Charitamrita, 4th chapter, Adi Leela, which is one of the most important chapters in the whole book. Srila Gurudev Narayan Maharaj has told this, that if you can understand the 4th chapter of Adi Leela, where it explains in that chapter the confidential reasons for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. And the chapters prior to that, 3 and 2, they explain his external reasons. There's internal and external reasons, primary and secondary. So we spent quite a bit of time reading the entire chapter and discussing. And I wanted that to connect also with the introduction that our Gurudev wrote for the Venu Geet. I don't know if you ever read the Venu Geet, and his introduction is classic, all-time classic, what he wrote. He wrote in Hindi, then it was translated into English, and we have 2 versions of the Venu Geet. That was done back in 1995. I was the one that was helping to edit that book, because it was the first version was made from his English katha that he was giving to some of the ISKCON leaders. So at that time, Gurudev's English needed a lot of editing. So, but then after that, he was also requested to do a Hindi version of the Venugit, which includes most of the same topics. So the introduction to that Venugit is extraordinary. You have to...
Have you spoken on that, Maharaj?
Yes, we read that all together, and we discussed it. Yes.
Complete book?
No, not the Venugit. No, not the complete book. What I've been doing in the previous months, it depends on my audience, you know. Because...
What I mean was a continuous one book, one topic.
No, because what I was doing at that time was a topic. I was preparing everyone to hear Ras Panchadhyay. But before you can hear Ras Panchadhyay, and there were a number of newer devotees also, so I was preparing them by reading the 4th chapter of Adi Lila and reading the introduction to the Venugit, and then that topic became more understandable. And what I did was I read Srila Prabhupada, his Krishna book, his presentation of the 10th canto of the 5 chapters of Ras Lila in the Krishna book. And then also Raghunath Das Goswami Pad, his appearance, disappearance day, that was around that same time period. So then I branched off into reading that, and then came Ratha Yatra. And I did a lot of Ratha Yatra Katha. I read most of Gurudev's Ratha Yatra book, the Jagannath Ratha Yatra book. And other topics which were in conjunction with, because Mahaprabhu's, you know, his Ratha Yatra Leela, it is expressing everything. Because why? Because in the Ratha Yatra Leela, he's completely absorbed in Srimati Radhika's mood when she saw Krishna at Kurukshetra. And that is practically the topmost topic. So, like this, I've covered different topics, and then because Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj's his appearance day was recently, and his mutt is just here. Yes. So I was there on that day. There were many different sannyasis and brahmacharis from different Gaudiya mats and different speakers. I spoke, but everyone just only had very short, 7 minutes, something like that. But then from that point, I began to read the Golden Volcano of Divine Love. And I also began to read his biography, a short biography, an autobiography as well, that he himself spoke about his life. Very, very interesting. So that started 6 weeks ago, something like that. And then I continued with the Golden Volcano of Divine Love. So like this. All right, so we'll just begin. Jai Saparikar Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Jiyo Ki Jai Shri Radha Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Jiyo Ki Jai Jai Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Shila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Shila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Shila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Ashtatarasata Sri Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Mahabhagavat Shila Gorakishore Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Saptam Gosai Sri Shila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhaum Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, Shri Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Trai ki jai, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath, Shara Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Srila Swarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari, Gaura Parsada Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem Sigo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Shri Navadvip Dham ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham ki jai, Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu ki jai, Shri Jagannath Puri Purushottam Kshetra Dhama ki jai, Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Nishringa Dev ki jai, Bhakta Pravara Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Charu Dham Charu Sampradaya Charu Acharya ki jai, Akara Mat Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai, Aur Ananya Shakamat Samuha ki jai, Shri Vishva Vaishnav Rad Sabha ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Tribhuvana Pavana Harinam Samkirtana ki jai, Tribhuvana Mangala Harinama Prabhu ki jai, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai, Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Shri Nityananda Mahajana ki jai, Shri Pancha Tattva ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Gaura Hari, Radhadhara Pranadana Nadiya Bihari, Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Gaura Hari, Gadadhara Pranadana Nadiya Bihari, Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Gaura Hari, Nityananda Pranadana Sankirtan Bihari, Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Gaura Hari, Nityananda Pranadana Sankirtan Bihari, Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Gaura Hari, Vishnu Priya Pranadana Nadiya Bihari, Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Gaura Hari, Vishnu Priya Pranadana Nadiya Bihari, Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, bolo Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, 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 Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Tise Namah Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Janava Pataye Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Brindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavind Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad, Paramahansa Astatarasata, Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad, Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, to my Siksha Guru Varga, and my Dandavat pranams to all of the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis. So today is the concluding day of us reading the Sikshastakam from the golden volcano of divine love of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, because now we have reached the 8th slok, and the 8th slok, I don't know how much you have studied Sikshastakam and how much you have tried to enter into the deep meaning of Sikshastakam, but the 8th slok is directly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu absolutely immersed in Srimati Radhika's moods in separation from Krishna. Yes. So what is Srimati Radhika telling? This chapter is titled Union and Separation. Union in separation. These are two opposites. Union and separation. But one cannot exist without the other. And there's so much katha on this topic. So much. The books of the Goswamis are the epitome, the ultimate presentation of these moods of meeting and separation, and meeting in separation. This is the ultimate topic for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent 12 years in Jagannath Puri, diving deeper and deeper and deeper into these moods of Srimati Radhika's. And who was assisting him? Swarup Damodar and Roy Ramananda. They were directly there assisting him day and night, day and night, day and night. Yes. And we also have, when we read the Ancha Leela, then we hear the incredible bodily transformations of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which actually Srimati Radhika herself also experienced these. And now Krishna, in the form of Gauranga, taking the mood and the kanti, the beautiful golden color of Srimati Radhika, now Krishna is absorbed very, very deeply, and he is tasting her moods of separation. So this 8th sloka by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have to try to penetrate deeply into it, and in order to do that, we will read Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj's commentary. So the 8th sloka of Sikshastakam, Ashlishya va padaratam pinashtumam adarshanan manarmahatam kurotu va yata tata va vidadhatu lampato matprananatastu saeva na paraha. If you know the verse, you can repeat after me. Ashlishyava padaratam pinashtumam Adarshanan marmahatam kurotu va. Yata tata va vidadhatu lampato. Matprananatastu saeva na paraha. So, here is a brief translation. Krishna may embrace me in love or trample me under his feet. He may do either. He may embrace me in love, or he may trample me under his feet. He may break my heart by hiding himself from me. Let this debauchee do whatever he likes, but he will always be the only Lord of my life. So Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, he is saying that this is the greatest medicine for the devotees. This is the greatest medicine for the devotees. We have come to measure the immeasurable. That means that what kind of attempt are we trying to do? We've come to try to measure the immeasurable, but we must always embrace this principle. So in attempting to connect ourselves with the infinite Lord of love and the Lord of beauty, beauty and love, infinite Lord of love and beauty. So in attempting to connect ourselves with him, we must remember that he is the infinite. We must always remember, he is the infinite. He is only one to us, but he has many devotees like us to deal with. To us, he's one, but he has many devotees like us to deal with. And he may embrace us with much affection and adoration, but we must be prepared for the opposite. We may stick to his feet, but he may cruelly trample us. We have caught hold of his holy feet with great hope. With our whole heart, with great hope in our whole heart, we have caught hold of his holy feet, but still we may find that he tramples us. And he does not care for all our attempts and our affection. We may be giving our best. From our side, we may be giving our best. And we may find that our offering is being hatefully dishonored. He may embrace us, but at the same time, we must be prepared that his dealings may be extremely cruel. Is Radharani prepared for that? Is Radharani prepared for that? That Krishna's dealings may be extremely cruel? That's what this whole verse is about. He may trample all our offerings beneath his feet. We must be prepared for both his adoration and his hateful negligence. We should be prepared. We should be prepared for any adverse circumstances. Krishna, he may be indifferent. He may not care. And when he is punishing us, he is nearer. But when he is indifferent, it is even more intolerable than punishment. The devotee thinks, Krishna is ignoring me, neglecting me so much that he does not like to keep any connection with me. The devotee thinks this. Doesn't he know me? Am I a foreigner, unknown to him? We may accept punishment as a boon. The punishment may be accepted by us as a boon, but indifference is even more heart-rending. Who underwent this indifference, apparent indifference, for their entire lives? The Braja Gopis. So, the pain of separation felt by a devotee, it may even go a step higher, that Krishna may affectionately embrace another right before our eyes, in front of our face, without caring even a little for us. We may think, this is my claim, this is my right. But that may be given to another right in front of our faces. That will be a source of increasing trouble to us. So, now Srila Sridhar Maharaj describes, what is this? What are all these dealing? What's happening here? Very simple. This is the law of affection. You want to enter into affection? This is the law that is followed in affection. The law of love. It cannot tolerate indifference. That's the law of love. Very intolerable to tolerate indifference. It is too much to tolerate, but we must be prepared for that. We must be prepared from the beginning that this is the meaning of Krishna Prem, divine love for Krishna. Because here's the reason why. He, Krishna, is an autocrat. You know what an autocrat is? What? What's an autocrat?
He can do as per his wish.
Huh?
He can do whatever he desires.
Yes, he's autocrat. No one can stop him. So, that's why we must be prepared from the beginning that this is the meaning of Krishna Prem, divine love for Krishna. Why? Because he is an autocrat. He is love. Love is him. He is love. Divine love means mercy, but it does not mean justice. Divine love means mercy and not justice. There is no law there. And we have selected divine love. We have selected divine love to be our highest fortune, so we must be prepared to be treated without justice. Yeah? Because there's no justice there. There's only divine love. There is no justice in divine love. It is free. It is free. It may flow anywhere and it may flow everywhere. This is the very nature of divine love. So, we can't make any claim. We have no rights. This is the nature of the highest thing. You want the highest thing? This is the nature of the highest thing. And it is extremely rare. Extremely rare. But unhesitating adherence to that principle is required from our side. It is real love. And you must be prepared for that. In all adverse circumstances, this is the real nature of Krishna Prema. Die to live. This is the real nature of Krishna Prema. Die to live. If you can accommodate all these different stages, good or bad, then you can enter this exalted plane. So, justice, the conception of justice, it is within law. Okay? That's where you're going to find justice, where there are laws. But mercy is above law. Mercy is above any laws. Praying, divine love, it is also above law. But it has its own law. There are laws also there, but it's the laws of praying. So there's another verse whose meaning runs parallel to this one. This verse, the 8th verse. It is written by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. And this is the verse of the Chataka bird. Srila Rupa Goswami, he is saying that there is this kind of a small bird. This small bird is named a Chataka bird. And that Chataka bird, it only drinks rainwater, that's all. It never drinks any water from the earth. So whether it is from a river, a fountain, or a lake, its very nature is that with its mouth upward, it hankers after rainwater. Here's the verse. Virachaya mai dandam dina bandho dayam va gatirihana bhavatak kachidanya mamasti nipatatu shatakoti nirbharam va navambas tadapi kila payodha stuyate chatakena. So Srila Rupa Goswami, he gives this example to show how a devotee should always be waiting in expectation of the rainwater of Krishna love and no other love. That's all. Only Krishna. So the devotee prays to the Lord. Oh, my Lord, you are the friend of the fallen. So I have some hope. You may grant your grace, or you may severely punish me, but in either case, I have no other alternative but to wholly surrender to your lotus feet. I have no other alternative. So our attitude of surrender should be just like that of the Chataka bird who always has his eyes fixed upwards, praying for rainwater. Rainwater, it may come profusely, not only enough to fill up his small belly, but enough to drown his whole body. And thunder, it may come from above. A bolt from the blue also may come and finish his small body, thunderbolt. And it may send him to the non-existent quarter. But still, the nature of that bird is to pray exclusively for rainwater. He won't take water from any other place under any circumstance. Our attitude towards Krishna should be like that. Whether or not he extends his gracious hand towards us, it is our duty to surrender unto him. Now in this connection, one verse comes to my memory. When Sri Krishna met Srimati Radharani and the gopis in Kurukshetra, after a long separation of perhaps 100 years. Did you know that? Krishna stayed on our planet for 125 years. Of course, they did not show old age. They looked like they were teenagers still. But how long was Krishna separated? Here he's saying that this long separation was perhaps around 100 years. Krishna felt that he had committed a great crime by separating himself from them. Now approaching at Kurukshetra, approaching near to the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani, and remembering their qualities of love and surrender, then he felt like the greatest criminal. Krishna felt. So much so that he bent down to touch the lotus feet of Radharani. One poet has represented the scene in this way. And that poem has been collected by Rupa Goswami in his Padyavali. Krishna was, at that time, the paramount king of India. Yes, he was the paramount king of India at that time. I was just reading the 90th chapter of the 10th canto. It's inconceivable how many family members Krishna had and how many servants there were of King Ugrasena. Not billions, trillions. So should we say, well, how is that possible? How is that possible? Our mind immediately, how's that possible? No, everything's possible. Because why? Because you're dealing with the infinite. And infinite means infinite. Everything is possible. Nothing is impossible. But our conditioned brain likes to think, well, how is that possible? How can there be 1 trillion people? Or more than 1 trillion? We're dealing with 7 billion people, or nearing 8 billion human beings, right? But is that impossible for Krishna? What about the spiritual world? Is there any limitation there at all? No, Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means no limit. Everything is ananta, without limit. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj is quoting a verse that he's remembering from the Padyavali that Rupa Goswami had collected, various shlokas, poems. So Krishna at that time was the paramount king of India, but when he came in connection with the gopis, and the atmosphere of Vrindavan through the gopis. He was in Kurukshetra, but now he comes into the atmosphere of Vrindavan. How did he feel? How did Krishna feel? He felt like a criminal. And then, bending down, he was just about to touch the lotus feet of Radharani when what happened? He was bending down and he was just about to touch the lotus feet of Radharani. And then suddenly, Radharani, she drew back, she stepped away, and she remarked, "What are you doing? Why are you coming to touch my feet? This is astounding. Have you lost your mind?" She's telling to Krishna. She says to Krishna, "You are the master of everything. No explanation can be demanded of you. You are Swami. You are my husband and master, and I am your maidservant. It may be that for some time you were engaged in some other quarter, but what's the harm in that? What is the fault in you for that? That does not matter, for that right is given to you by Scripture and by society. There is no crime, no sin on your part. You have done nothing wrong." This is Radharani telling to Krishna after 100 years of separation, and Krishna is trying to touch her feet in a mood of feeling like a criminal. But what does Radharani tell him? "What are you doing? Have you lost your mind?" Huh? Very important to hear this. Then what does Radharani say? "There is no crime, there is no sin on your part. You have done nothing wrong. I am the real criminal. I am the real criminal. The meanness is with me. The defect is wholly with me, completely with me. You are not responsible for our separation. So why do you consider that you are faulty, or that you have committed some wrong?" And the positive proof that I am the real criminal. Now Radharani is going to explain why she considers herself to be the real criminal. So the positive proof that I am the real criminal is that I sustain my life. I did not die from the pangs of your separation. I am showing my face to the world, but I am not faithful to you. I could not approach the standard of faith which I should have maintained for your love, so I am the criminal, not you. It has been written in the scriptures by the saints that the wife should be thankful and exclusively devoted to the husband. And this has been ordained in the scriptures. A woman should be devoted exclusively to her husband, to her Lord. So in this meeting here at Kurukshetra, I should fall at your feet and beg for your pardon, for your forgiveness, that I have really no love for you. I am maintaining this body and I am showing my face to society. I am not a proper partner for you, so please forgive me. You are begging my forgiveness? This is just the opposite of how things should be. What is this? Please don't do this. Srila Sridhar Maharaj is telling that this should be the ideal of our affection for Krishna. This should be the ideal of our affection for Krishna. We, the finite, should take this attitude towards the infinite. Yes. At any time, He may only give a little attention to us, but we should be all attentive toward Him. All attentive toward Him. Even if He just gives us a tiny little bit of attention, we should be all attentive towards Him. And there is no alternative to this. There is no alternative. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he advises that we have exclusive devotion towards Krishna. And as we are insignificant, so our attitude must be of this type. If we want such a great thing, then it is not an injustice that we should be treated hatefully. Our prospect, our understanding, and our adjustment, it must be that of self-sacrifice and self-forgetfulness. Just as when someone goes to fight for his country on the battlefield, there is no room for luxury or excessive desires. I remember in this connection that when Gandhi formed his non-violence army, one of the volunteer soldiers asked him, because Srila Sridhar Maharaj and his generation, that they were living during the period of Gandhiism and non-violence, non-cooperation movement. It was all throughout India. All the youth were embracing that. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj is using some example here. He says that I remember in this connection that when Gandhi formed his non-violence army, then one of the volunteer soldiers asked him, "Please arrange tea for us." Indians cannot do without their tea. So he said, "Please arrange tea for us." Then Gandhi told him, "The water of the river may be supplied to you, but no tea. And if you are ready for that, then come forward." So, if we want to connect ourselves with the Vrindavan Leela of Krishna, we can make no conditions. And then we shall understand the method recommended by Sriman Mahaprabhu. What is that? Humility greater than that of a blade of grass. And there should be no complaint from our side. Not only in the external position of our present life, but even in eternal life. Any complaint from our side should be carefully eliminated, and we must fully accept the ways of the Lord. And Krishna may accept us, or he may reject us. We have to take that risk. And only then may we make progress. So there's a popular saying, English, I don't know if you have it in Indian, probably, but no risk, no gain. You heard that before? In business dealings especially, or investments. No risk, no gain. And that's just for some little bit of money which will completely be lost in the course of time. Nothing, no connection. It will disintegrate. But for the highest thing, so we will have to take the risk that Krishna may accept us or Krishna may reject us. And only then, when we're ready to take that risk, then we may progress. We may make progress. Now, in some way or other, if we can enter the group of Krishna's servitors, what will we find there? We'll find that everyone has such a nature. Everyone. And when they meet together, they will console each other in their respective groups. In different serving relationships, there are different sections of servitors of a similar nature, and they console each other with talk of Krishna Katha. So in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 9 and verse 12. Now, Krishna is saying here, Mach chitta mad gata prana bodhayantak parasparam kathayantas chamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. This is one of the four main verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So what is Krishna saying here? He's talking about his devotees. He says, my devotees, they mix together, they talk about me, and they exchange thoughts that give consolation to their hearts. And they live as if this talk about me is their food. That's how they live. Mach chitta mad gata prana bodhayantas parasparam. This exchange between them, it gives them a high kind of pleasure. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Very high type of pleasure. And they find that when they talk about me among themselves, they feel as if they are enjoying my very presence. And then the other verse from the end, that was one of the verses. Now this is the verse at the end of those four. Again, Krishna is talking about his devotees. Tesham evanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhashvata. When sometimes the feeling of separation from me is very acute in my devotees, then I suddenly appear before them and I quench their thirst for my company. Krishna is telling. So in this last verse of his Sikshastakam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has given another very fine and a very high type of solace. And this has been confirmed by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who has written, so Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has written, Bahye Visha Jvala Hoy, Bitore Anandamoy, Krishna Premar Adbhuta Charita. This is the Adbhuta Charita of Krishna Prem. Kaviraj Goswami has written this very important verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Don't be afraid. Outwardly, you may feel a horrible pain of separation, but internally, you will feel an unparalleled type of rasa, the most pleasing feeling of peace, joy, or ecstasy. So externally, there may be pangs of separation, but internally there is the greatest satisfaction. Bitore Anandamoy, that means internally full ecstatic. But Bahye Visha Jvala Hoy, like burning poison, externally. Krishna Premar Adbhuta Charita. This is the amazing nature of Krishna Prem. Now in this way, we are advised by the scriptures and our practical experience. It also corroborates our faith in this subtle matter. There is an English poet named Shelley, famous name, a British poet. He has written the following little short sonnet. Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thought. Should I translate this into regular English? This is Old English. Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. That means even when somebody is laughing, within that laughter there's some pain also. And then he says that our sweetest songs that we compose, so many songs have been composed, and what's the nature of those sweetest songs? They tell of the saddest thoughts. Yes. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj has taken an English poet, Shelley, and used his statement just about mundane, loving affairs and so forth. And he's applying it to this principle of transcendental separation in Krishna Prem. Now, Srila Sridhar Maharaj goes on and he says that when we are reading an epic, where there is cruel separation between the hero and the heroine, like what epic? Ramayana. So many. Also Mahabharata has so many. And when we're reading such an epic, there is cruel separation between the hero and the heroine that it is so sweet to us that although we shed tears, still we cannot leave the book. Gurudev used to say this particularly because, he grew up as a worshipper of Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman. He was a Ram Bhakta until he came to the pathway of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes? And he had very, very deep realizations and revelation. You can see in the Samadhi here, in Gurudev's Samadhi, is the depiction of Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, and Gurudev is lying with a blanket over him, and he's dreaming and his mouth is smiling, and he's having the darshan of Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman directly. So when Gurudev was traveling in the West, sometimes there would be some period when he wanted to watch the Ramayana that was produced, you know, the movie, the Ramayana. You all know it. I've seen parts of it, but everyone in India knows that one, right? And Gurudev would say that the nature of the Ramayana is that it's such heart-rendering, painful story of separation, but still it's so sweet, and we shed so many tears, but still we cannot leave the book. And when we hear about the pangs of Sita Devi, how Ramchandra banishes her and leaves her uncared for in the forest, although she is with child, this is very painful. And we shed tears, but still we read on. There is sweetness within pain. It is possible. You know, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was also a Ram Bhakta. Did you know that? Yes? Before he was converted to worshipping Radha and Krishna, he thought, oh, Ram is better. Ram is more sincere and honest, but Krishna is very crooked. So, separation from Krishna is like that. The special characteristic of Krishna Prem is this, that externally we feel extreme pain, like burning lava, but internally our heart is filled with some extraordinary ecstatic joy. So this is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us. As much as we can catch the meaning of his instructions, as much as we can, then we shall be prepared for that kind of a life. So this is the fare that you have to pay to go to Vrindavan. You have to pay this fare to go to Vrindavan. And when we are introduced to so many others like us there, then our joy knows no bounds. When we meet others who have the same nature and the same mind as us, we get solace from them. We need not be afraid. So in spite of all these things, we should think firmly that there is our home. And we should want to go back to home, back to Godhead. We are not foreigners there. Here, we are foreigners. Every man treats me in any way that he likes. But in Vrindavan, it is most hopeful, and it is full of the highest prospect. It is the place of inner satisfaction. We aspire after that. We cannot but continue aspiring for our real home. What is real joy and real ecstasy? We are not acquainted with that. That is our present trouble. Yet, as much as we progress in Krishna consciousness, we shall become conscious of a practical feeling of real joy and ecstasy, of beauty and charm. And in this way, we shall become more and more encouraged. So the great Acharya from South India, Yamunacharya, what does he say? Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna patara vinde Nava Nava Rasadham Yudyatam Rantum Asit Tadavadi Vata Nari Sangame Smaryamane Bhavati Mukha Vikara Shushtu Nishtivanam Cha. So this is a very graphic verse by Yamunacharya. He says, and who is Yamunacharya? You're all from South India? Huh? Yes. Was he only a guru? He was a king. He was a king. Very, very great king. But he was a pure bhakta, pure devotee. Huh? Raja Rishi, yes. And so he composed, what is it called, his composition? Stotra Ratna, I think. Stotra Ratna. Yes, by Yamunacharya. So this is one of the verses from there. And what is he expressing? He's expressing that before I, King Yamunacharya, before I came in touch with the Krishna love of Vrindavan, then worldly pleasure was of much importance to me. But now, if any mundane taste comes in my memory, my face becomes disfigured and I spit at the thought. You've heard this verse before? Yes. This is the difference. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is telling us now that if we get a slight taste of that ecstasy, a slight taste of that ecstasy, then at once we come to the conclusion that there can be no comparison between that and any peace or pleasure here in this mundane world. And at the same time, once we are settled in that atmosphere, once we are settled there in that atmosphere, no pain can disturb or affect us in any way. No pain. And there is another side also. Another side. Although we are advised to be prepared for painful separation. Didn't he advise us? He sure as hell did. He really advised us in this purport here. Be prepared for painful separation. So, but there's another side also. That although we are advised to be prepared for painful separation, the fact is not so cruel in reality. Yes, in reality, the fact is not so cruel. Krishna says, Mai te teshu chapi aham. I am always with my devotees. Always. Krishna says. So wherever there is an exclusive devotee, Krishna is there like his shadow, always invisibly moving after him. This is the Lord's nature. What is his nature? Now we hear the verse spoken by Lord Vishnu to who? Durvasa Muni. Remember that story? Durvasa Rishi was being chased by the Sudarshan Chakra because he wanted to kill Maharaj Ambarish. Yes. So, he tried first to go to who? Brahma. Brahma said, I can't help you. Then he tried to go to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva said, no, I can't help you. Then he went to Lord Vishnu himself, who is the Lord of the Sudarshan Chakra, and he says, I can't help you. Because aham bhakta paradhino hiyasvatantra eva dvija sadhu bir grasta hridayo bhaktair bhakta jana priya. Here's what Lord Vishnu told to Durvasa. The Lord tells Durvasa, I am the slave of my devotees. I'm their slave. I have no freedom apart from their will. So Krishna the Infinite, who we have to be prepared for, that anything he can treat us in any way. But what does Krishna say? I'm not free, I'm not independent. He asvatantra. Asvatantra means I'm not independent. I have no freedom apart from the will of my devotees, because they are completely pure and they are completely devoted to me, so my heart is controlled by them, and I reside always in their hearts. And I am dependent not only on my devotees, but even on the servants of my devotees. Bhaktair Bhakta Jana Priya. So even the servants of my devotees are dear to me. That's why you have to have an exalted guru, who you become the slave of him. And then you can be accepted by Krishna. So now, this is the last section of this commentary. And they gave it a subtitle for this last section. As they were producing the book, then they made little subtitles. What's the subtitle? Krishna is not a sweet ball. You want to think that Krishna is a sweet ball? You can go to a shop and purchase a sweet ball and throw it in your mouth. That Krishna is a sweet ball? No, Krishna is not a sweet ball. So now we're going to hear how he's not a sweet ball. We must be prepared for any unfavorable circumstances. We must be prepared. But we must not be discouraged. Krishna is most affectionate. His care towards us is also most acute and sincere. Yes. His affection towards us has no rival. But still, Sriman Mahaprabhu has given us a warning in this verse. Here's the warning from Mahaprabhu. You are coming to search after Krishna. Krishna is not a sweet ball from the market that you can purchase and finish so easily. You are trying to attain the highest of the high. So you must be prepared for anything. And at the same time, the devotees will come to us and they will say to us, have no fear. The devotees. They will come and they will say, have no fear. We are all like you. So let us all walk together in a straight line. Don't be afraid. We are here. So we are told that Krishna's devotees are even more sympathetic to us than Krishna himself. So the solace of our life and our fortune is his devotees. That's the solace of our life, and it is our highest fortune that his devotees are so sympathetic. And therefore Krishna says, Mad Bhaktanam Chaye Bhakta. That one who is a servant of my servant, he is my real servant. So Sadhu Sangha, the association of saints, is the most important and the most valuable thing for us. To make our advancement and to progress towards the infinite, then our association is our guide. It is all important, our association. We must stick to this conclusion. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastre Koi, Lavamatra Sadhu Sange, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. The conclusion has been given in the scriptures that all perfection can be attained by the help of the saints. Good association is our greatest wealth in reaching the supreme goal. Good association is our greatest wealth in reaching the supreme goal. Gaur Premanandi. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Sikshastakam ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Golden volcano of divine love ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari. Any questions or comments?
Maharaj, you told that our Gopal, Sridhar Maharaj and our Gurudev had affection towards Ramachandra.
Yes.
But they are all basically Manjaris.
Yes. This is Yoga Maya. It's a pastime of Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya handles the eternal devotees. How they take birth, where they take birth. Why did... What?
My question is,
Yeah.
how come they are having the Rama darshan, affection towards Rama? We should have only one Nishta, that's Krishna, that is Radha Dasya, especially our Parampara.
Yes.
So how come they are affectionate towards Ramachandra?
I'm explaining. I'm about to explain it. So, you're thinking, oh, but their eternal identity is a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. So how can they have affection for Lord Ram? But you're not taking into consideration that when they come down from there to here, now there is a huge plan. Mahaprabhu, his associates, Mahaprabhu has his Leela. And even after he's departed from this world, great personalities still continue to come into this world. They play a role, like in a drama. They play a role. They are not, because in order for them to take part in the preaching mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they cannot be in the mood and the consciousness of their eternal identity. That cannot happen. They are covered by Yoga Maya, and therefore they can identify themselves that, oh, I am a fallen soul of this world. Understand? You never heard this before? This Siddhanta? It is essential. And not only it is essential for them to participate in the Leela of their Guru or of Mahaprabhu and his associates, it is essential for their own sadhan bhajan, because they are showing by their life struggles to us conditioned souls, they are demonstrating to us how to be the purest devotee in all situations of life, you see. So, for example, my own Guru Maharaj is such a good example of this, because he played the role of a householder, businessman. But if he did not play that role, then he could not have done what he did, you see. Everything is created by Yoga Maya, because in the spiritual world, Yoga Maya is causing all the leelas to happen. So that vast, infinite plan of Yoga Maya, we play a small part in that plan. So for these great personalities to in their life to show the mood and the sense of being an acharya and preaching and sacrificing so much, having such extensive compassion. They themselves feel like they are conditioned souls. Vasudev Datta was one of the greatest associates of Mahaprabhu. He could not tolerate the sufferings of the conditioned souls, the jivas of this world. So one day he approached Mahaprabhu and he said, I cannot tolerate to see how all the jivas are suffering, and they are completely captured in this chain of karma and misdeeds, and for lifetimes and lifetimes. I cannot tolerate. So, oh my Lord, please take all of their sinful reactions and their pious reactions and place them on me, and I will suffer. Let them attain your lotus feet. We hear of Lord Jesus Christ in Christianity as being sacrificing his life. Sacrificing his life to save the fallen souls. But in the purports of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada actually writes that here we see this example of Vasudev Datta is millions of times more compassionate than Lord Jesus Christ. Why? Because Lord Jesus Christ agreed to save from the sins of those who are his followers. But here Vasudev Datta wants to everyone, all jivas. So I'm saying that our acharyas, they have a certain lila that is given to them in this world, where they can enact the apparent that they are like one of the conditioned souls. And they feel like that. They also feel like that. And they go through struggles. They go through so many challenges, you know. But their whole life is an example for us, start to finish. So, in this case, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was born into a very high-level Brahmana family, and his family line, I forget whether it was his father's or mother's side, but they were Ram Bhaktas. And on his mother's side, Krishna Bhaktas were there. And in the case of Srila Narayan Maharaj, his family were also very high-level Brahmanas. But from his early childhood, he was brought to Ramayan recitations, and he was worshipping Lord Ram. But isn't that an amazing thing, that although he's the associate of Srimati Radharani and Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, but externally he shows this pastime in this world. And then he shows a pastime of how he became converted when he began to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And he became so absorbed in the Mahamantra that he completely forgot time. He lost himself completely. He did not go to work. He was employed as a policeman at that time. And that very day that he was absorbed in this way, there was a crisis that they were searching for a very important document in all the piles and stacks of documents, and they couldn't find the document, right? So Srila Narayan Maharaj, he didn't go to work that day. And when he came, then he realized, oh, what have I done? And when he came to work the next day, he was feeling that he's going to get chastised. But they all looked at him and they said, oh, you've come. Oh, you saved the day for us yesterday. None of us could find that document. But when you came, you just took that document right away. Srila Gurudev at that moment understood, Krishna came in my form. I carry what my pure devotees lack, and I preserve what they have. Krishna says that. So, Gurudev, you know, he could not stay in family life. That is not possible. He left. Only someone of that level can do that. If someone else tries to do that, it will be adharmic. But in his case, it was the highest dharma. Yes. 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 The family of Gopal Bhatta Goswami were worshipping Lakshmi Narayan and thinking that they're the supreme and that Krishna is an expansion of Narayan. But when Mahaprabhu came, stayed with them and there for 4 months and converted them. You see. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Sacinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sacinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari. Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He. Nitai He, Nitai He, Nitai He, Nitai He. Hey, Nitai Hey, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Premanand. Hari Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Vinod Bihari Jiyo Ki Jai. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtana Ki Jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Brindai Tulsidev Bhai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namah Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.